Hello, folks, and welcome back to the Beefy Bois Bug Club for episode 5. Before we get started here, us at the Beefy Bois would like to thank the first responders in California wildfires. May you all be safe, and if you are in the California area, please make sure to donate items to the firehouses and animal shelters to lend a helping hand. With that being said, I am Christian, and I am joined here with the buds Vito.
Yo.
And Joe.
Yo.
Let's get started, folks.
We're rolling.
I mean, so we were talking fantasy, and I mean, my brother and Haley are playing each other, and they both fucking suck. That's like a garbage game, 3-7 versus 3-7. But then I'm looking in my division, and I'm getting a little spooked.
Why?
Because I'm going against, I mean, Claude's in my division, right?
Yeah.
And Claude's
So
right behind me, and so are you. So our biggest issue is I won squeaking by last week, and I was amped about that. You know, kicker scored more than Saquon Barkley. Big time. Big time. So I'm pumped up, but then I realized, wait a minute, if I keep winning, I'm going to have to play you in the playoffs.
Or Blake. It's going to be me or Blake.
You or Blake, and I want Blake. I want to play Blake since I 100-pieced him. So what I want to do is, what Claude and I have been thinking, we've been thinking on the same track of throwing a game and pulling all of our starters out of the game, putting in nothing but bench and backup.
That's an awesome idea.
Just to drop,
trying to mess with each other.
Drop in the rank. Yes.
I mean, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I think you're both clinched already.
Because I told him that, and then he was like, "Oh man, that's actually a great idea." I was like, "Fuck you, that's my idea, 100% my idea."
I picked up both Malcolm Brown and Spencer Ware just so I can mess with you guys in the finals when Kareem Hunt and Gurley are resting. So oh look, I have your backup on my team. Ha ha.
If Kansas City benches their starters again, they're going to lose first round of the playoffs, guaranteed.
I mean,
and let me tell you why. Because you're going to bench your starters in the last game of the season, right? You're going to go into the playoffs with a bye week. Yeah. So they're resting for 2 weeks. Yeah. That's too much time. That's way too fucking long. And they're going to get rusty. It's happened every fucking year that, I'm sorry, I'm blanking. Andy Reid has pulled his starters on the last game of the year. He pulls all of them. They come out in the first round of the playoffs, and they lose.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, not in Houston when they played in Houston that one year, but, I mean, overall, their playoff record, they should not be fucking around and pulling their starters before it's, we're talking about Kansas City. Mm-hmm. So we talked a little bit a week ago about, our playoff predictions, and
some of them not looking so great.
Some of them are not looking great because I said the Seahawks were going to beat the Chargers, and I said the Seahawks were going to beat the Rams, and we lost both of those games. And, okay, so granted, Seahawks have won against Green Bay, right? That was a big game. Primetime game at home. They win. It looks good. They have big numbers, almost, 170 rushing yards for Chris Carson and Mike Davis. And I'm talking about the game on Thursday.
Okay.
But on Thursday, I also said something that, puckered everybody's asshole when I said that the Seahawks sucked. And here's my my defense. I love the Seahawks. I have grown up a Seahawks fan my entire life, and almost my entire life the Seahawks were terrible. The Sean Alexander early days, the 2004, 2005 season, those were big years for us. And then after that, when Sean Alexander got paid and he was too scared to run, they started declining, right? But I love Matt Hasselbeck, and he kind of saved the franchise in a weird way, but then he leaves, right? They don't want to pay Matt Hasselbeck big contract money, so he goes away, and then we're stuck with Seneca Wallace and Charlie Whitehurst and Tavares Jackson. Those were fucking horrible years, right? That was like Seahawks were absolutely terrible. But we were used to the Seahawks kind of sucking, right? So nobody was, ever pissy when somebody said, "Oh, the Seahawks suck." Everybody knew it. The Seahawks knew it, And just kind of gradually you get Russell Wilson, you get all those great defensive players, you go to the Super Bowl, you win it, then you go to the next year, you lose it. Everybody is so accustomed to the Seahawks being a powerhouse, right? Mm-hmm. And a Super Bowl contender. last year they dropped off the Super Bowl contender map completely. Just they were fucking terrible last year. Russell Wilson was the leading rusher, which obviously is a bad start to begin with. Our running backs were constantly getting hurt. So this year, we lose a lot of defensive players. We still have Russell Wilson. We still have, Doug Baldwin. The Seahawks just signed Tyler Lockett to a big contract extension, which he is living up to it big time. It's been a career year for him. It's been his best year with the Seahawks. It's like his leg was never even broken, And he looks great. They're awesome. They're having fun. But here's my point. They are not a great football team, and they're not even – I wouldn't even say that they're even kind of better than good. They're a good football team, but they're not better than good.
I mean, I know I picked them as a playoff team, which looks very silly now 2 weeks later, but they barely beat Green Bay last week, who has one of the worst coaches in the league, and –
he is a big reason why the Seahawks won that game.
I know, because they punted for some reason when they had no timeouts left. Like, what do you do? Across the 50. And also, Aaron Rodgers didn't look like himself. Well, Aaron Rodgers was interviewed before the game, and he was almost in tears because he's from Paradise, California, which is literally burned to the ground, And then, there's all these articles in the postgame, what's wrong with Aaron Rodgers? I'm like, his hometown literally burnt to the ground 2 days ago. I think he's a little distracted, After Hurricane Sandy, Eli Manning played a game where he threw 3 picks, and people were like, what's wrong? And then he posted a picture of himself standing in water up to his ankles in his own apartment. Pay attention to what's happening around these people,
It's brutal the fact that Eli Manning was living in an apartment. But anyway.
It's Hoboken. It's really expensive.
But anyway, that's beside the point. Yes, Aaron Rodgers was not himself, but still had a big game. 320-some passing yards, I believe. 2 passing touchdowns.
Yeah.
Or 3 passing touchdowns. Yeah, 3 passing touchdowns, and then they got a field goal.
The Seahawks do have the advantage of having 3 more combined games between the Cardinals and 49ers left, and the 49ers just lost to the Giants, so should tell you all you need to know about that team.
I mean, that's big. that's big news that the Seahawks still have those games, but don't forget that the Seahawks still play Carolina, they still play Minnesota, they still play Kansas City, and and those 2 games against the Cardinals and the 49ers, it seems like they're joke teams, but they're division matchups.
Yeah.
And, the Cardinals always come here and show up in CenturyLink, kind of like how the Seahawks go to Arizona and show up in Arizona. It's almost like we switch home field advantage when we play each other. It's like they have home field advantage here because they win here a lot, and the Seahawks have home field advantage over there in Arizona because they dominate in Arizona, except for that stupid fucking tie game that happened a few years ago. But
those ties are so dumb.
When I say the Seahawks suck, it's not the players in general, right? It's they suck because they're not mashing yet, and people don't want to hear the word suck. They get upset at the word suck, but in reality, they're not a great football team. They can still turn around, and they can still, if they really go at it, they can make the wild card.
Yeah.
But they make the wild card, they're not going anywhere in the playoffs. I'm sorry. There's no Super Bowl hope this year. Not at all. Not when you have the Rams, not when you have the Saints.
I just feel like the Bears and Panthers are for real, and you're not getting past them.
If they open up the way...
I could argue that saying they suck is too strong terminology. I think they're just mediocre. They're not great. They're not awful. They just are.
Right,
so.
But I said that too. I said, hey, suck was just me being a butthurt little bitch. They're not a great football team. They are very mediocre. Russell Wilson has blown a lot of games for the Seahawks this year. The coaching staff, especially, has blown a lot of games this year. The Seahawks should not be 5-5. If the Seahawks weren't a mediocre team, they would not be 5-5. Exactly. And with that being said, they're mediocre because they're young. They have a new coaching staff, and they're rebuilding.
Yeah.
They're in their rebuilding phase. They lost all their defensive players, but you still got Bobby Wagner, you still got Russell Wilson. The running backs are really showing up this year. The offensive line is coming together. They're going to be a powerhouse next year. And 100%, they'll be going to the playoffs next year without a doubt.
Yeah.
And I think Schottenheimer's great, but I think the sense of urgency on the Seahawks is what makes them suck. And speaking about football, the Seahawks just lost their primetime matchup against the 49ers. Not really surprised by that. But speaking of primetime games, all right, we're gonna venture into Monday Night Football. And Vito, I'm going to fill you in on this one a little bit.
Yeah.
So on the Monday Night Football team, or the commentating team, they're, one, to begin with, they're fucking terrible. Every single one of them is horrible.
I mean, Joe Tessitore isn't terrible, but he's just a play-by-play guy.
Him and Jason Witten and Booger McFarlane are...
Quick question before you explain about Monday Night Football.
Uh-huh.
What is Monday Night Football?
So, see, I love having Vito here because he asks all the sports questions that we don't even think people are going to need.
That's true.
I gotta take
question.
you guys one step back to clue me in here.
That's a
The
great
NFL
question.
plays most of their games on Sunday, right?
Shout out
Yeah.
to Coors Light.
3 games a week. Well, 2 or 3, because Thursday Night Football is a whole different beast. But Sunday night, they put their best game of the week. They used to do that on Monday night. Monday Night Football was like the marquee event. It was the only game that was in prime time, so like when people weren't working and not Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon if you're not on the West Coast. Then like 10 years ago, they added a Sunday night game. Now they also have a Thursday night game. Anyways, but basically it's like the marquee matchups of the week happen on Sunday night and Monday night, okay? And then ESPN has the Monday night broadcast, and that's the only game they broadcast each week. So they try and make this big show of it, you know?
Right.
They put all their production behind it because it's the only one they have to cover. So they have one team who does them all. Whereas like CBS has to cover 5 or 6 games every week, so you don't know. So, you know, some, like, Tony Romo's great, but then you get, like, Charles Davis, who's mediocre, and, you know, there's
I
mix and match all
hate
these.
Charles
I think
Davis.
he's fine. I like him because of Madden. But anyways, we're talking about Monday Night Football,
Yeah.
okay? Like I said, ESPN, lots of money, owned by Disney. They should have all the money in the world. So you think that they should have the best announcing crew. And they had John Gruden, who's now coach of the Raiders up until last year. He was okay. He was a super goofball and loved finding random props to like flop around. But, you know, he was fun. So they replaced him with Jason Witten, who was tight end for the Dallas forever.
Cowboys.
And Joe Tessitore, who's just like generic football announcer. So, okay, let me explain football announcing teams. In general, on a sports announcing team, you have 2 guys. You have the play-by-play guy who tells you exactly what's happening on the field, and the color commentator who's there to provide colorful commentary, basically. Who comes up like one of them once compared Jason Pierre-Paul to an octopus, you know, stuff like that. That's their job.
So kind of like in video game tournaments. Where
Yeah,
they
yeah,
have
yeah,
the
yeah,
yeah.
broadcasters, and one of them's usually like a YouTuber or something. Who's
Yeah,
like a comedian.
one of them's there just for the personality. The other one's
Yeah,
there
the
to
other
like
one's
tell
there
you
to
what's
actually tell you
happening.
what's
So if
happening,
like you're not paying attention, you like, yeah. And then additionally, you have a sideline reporter whose main job is to be on the sideline and to report like what's happening if like someone's injured, what's going on with them, since they're right there. You
Right,
know.
yeah.
But ESPN decided to go a different route. So Joe Tessitore is their play-by-play guy. He's okay. I mean, play-by-play guys are boring. Jason Witten's doing the color commentary. It's his first year. He's not great. But their sideline reporter is this guy named Booger McFarlane, who used to be an NFL player as well. And he doesn't stand on the sideline. He has what he calls the Booger Mobile, which is this motorized cart that he sits on.
That's
and
relevant
basically
anyway.
has an elevated desk so he can like look up stats and provide analysis from the sidelines. And generally, when you have a 2-man team, which has been the standard for forever, the 2 guys in the booth talk all the time. They throw to the sideline reporter when he has something to say. Booger McFarlane butts in with random stuff all the time.
All game long.
Yeah.
And not to mention, his cart isn't just like it's not like a small production. It's like a ginormous fucking...
It's a crane.
It's a crane. And he goes along he's along the entire front row of the stadium, and these people are paying top dollar to go and see these teams and to sit in the front row, and he's on his stupid crane right in front of him. So people were, you know, bitching naturally about it, that they couldn't see the game.
Now
so what do they do to fix that? They throw a ginormous TV on the back of his crane, so that way people can see the game.
I'll post some pictures of this in the Facebook group so you can see what we're talking about. It's absolutely absurd.
ridiculous.
But they changed it again. And they got rid
It's
of the
smaller
TV,
now.
and it's a plexiglass blacking so you can see through it. It's still not great. You don't want to pay for front row seats and then have to look through like a car window to see
Exactly. I don't want to
game,
have to
but
look through
anyways.
plexiglass or go through Booger's computer monitors or anything like that.
So, yeah.
If you're sitting in the front row, you're not spending, minimal amounts of money. You're spending, like I said, top dollar to sit there. And these guys have got a big, ginormous crane. So what does the Bills Mafia do to figure this solution out? They throw dildos at Booger McFarlane.
Vito,
And the
for
Bills
context,
Mafia,
yes, who's the Bills Mafia?
The Bills Mafia is So Buffalo Bills, they were a very, very big powerhouse in the 90s, right? They went to the Super Bowl 4 years in a row, and they lost 4 years in a row. Very sad. So I love the Seahawks, and the second team for me is the Buffalo Bills. So I've been watching the Bills since I was, a little kid. Same amount of years I've been watching the Seahawks. The Bills Mafia is their crowd. It's like their fan base, and they're notorious. They're one of the most diehard. I would probably credit them to being the reason why Buffalo still has a football team.
Yeah.
And they have been terrible every year since their last Super Bowl.
They went to the
loss.
playoffs last year.
Dude, come on. Come on. Yeah, Tyrod Taylor was cool. It was awesome. They went to the playoffs. But before that, it had been since the 90s, since their last playoff run. And then, they get destroyed by Jacksonville.
I know. Did you see Matt Barkley look like a star for them last week?
I saw that.
Anyways.
Bills Mafia.
Sorry.
I don't mean to interrupt.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna let him know about the dildos. All right?
Oh, I thought you. Okay.
So the Bills Mafia. A couple of years ago, Tom Brady and the Patriots were playing in Buffalo. Naturally, they despise the Patriots. First off, they hate every other team, but the Patriots they hate especially. And this was, post Rex Ryan at Buffalo days, and when Rex Ryan was at the Bills coaching for him, that was kind of like when the hatred really started to heat up a little bit more. So Tom Brady and the Patriots were in the red zone, and they were right up on the goal line. And on live TV in front of everybody, they're starting to line up, and all of a sudden you just see this big old dildo just flop on the field. So nobody knew what it was. So the referees go and they pick it up. They start kicking it on the ground. But written on the dildo is Tom Brady's mouthpiece. Oh. And I think that was like the funniest thing ever. I mean, if you have the time, it's on YouTube. It's about 10 minutes. Barstool Sports documentary on the Bills Mafia. If you love football and you want to know about the craziest, sports fanatics as far as like their home team, check that documentary out. It's fantastic. It's funny. It's awesome.
For sure.
And they're great. I love the Bills Mafia.
Yeah.
Like, I wish every day of my life that the Seahawks fans were as crazy as them, because like I said, in Seattle or Washington alone, the football crowd here is very politically correct. Mm-hmm. They don't like to cuss. They don't like to fight. We gotta get you out
for like a Bills game once we make millions from this podcast.
It's a goal of mine. It's a goal of mine.
Yeah.
It's a goal of my dad's. Actually, we were watching the Huskies game earlier, and we were talking about the PC culture in football stadiums, and I mentioned going to Ralph Wilson to watch a football game.
Yeah.
I said, you're not going to Ralph Wilson to root for a different team. You're going there and you're wearing Bills attire and you're going to root for the Bills. Otherwise, you're going to be covered in beer, ketchup, spit, all that good shit.
So you're out there for
and that's what's fun. That's
lake effect snow, and it's like just 10 feet of snow just dumping down on the field.
Drop on a table. So they were throwing dildo, or they were going to throw dildos at Booger McFarland, and so they decided to fix the crane a little bit because the ESPN didn't want anything to do with dildos being thrown at Booger.
And the Giants have been on Monday Night Football twice this year. Booger dildos. That's an image. I've had to endure this awful setup twice this year. So I wrote down some of my choice Booger quotes. Okay, these are real live things said by a professional sports announcer
named Booger.
Anthony, but sure, but
yeah.
he calls himself Booger. Right? In the first Monday night game, Odell Beckham had to pee, and it was just before halftime, and the opponents had the ball, so he went to the locker room to use the bathroom. Booger McFarland called him a diva because he wouldn't pee in his pants on the sideline. This happened on live TV. You can look it up. And he's like, is it just me, Jason? Like, you guys wouldn't just just go in your pants? And Jason's like, no, I have no idea what you're talking about, Booger. All right?
Jesus Christ.
It was like either pissing in your pants or pissing on the sideline somewhere, covering up with like a jacket or something.
Cut to a replay of Saquon Barkley trying to go for a run. Booger says, watch Richard Sherman tackle Saquon's outside leg. Saquon loves to bounce the ball to the outside. Sherman tackles Barkley by the shoulder pads, like right after he said that. Okay? The day, about 3 hours before the Saints signed Dez Bryant, I bet the Saints don't sign Dez Bryant. He doesn't fit their system. Hours before it happened. Eli massively underthrows a short touchdown pass to a wide open LBJ. Jason Witten says, "Woo, Eli really underthrew that pass." Booger cuts him off. Guys, I think Eli underthrew that pass. Like, what are you guys doing? And then my favorite one, and I know I'm an Eli Manning defender, but Booger says, Eli is not a Hall of Famer. He's only ever been to the playoffs twice. Eli Manning has been to the playoffs 6 times. All right? He's a 2-time Super Bowl MVP. Sixth most yards of all time, 8th most touchdowns, and he's never been injured in his entire career. And he's going to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he is. He will be for sure. And not to mention, he did beat like one of the greatest football teams, the undefeated Patriots.
We mentioned that in my favorite sport. I mean, and like I said, it's Jason Witten's first year. He hasn't been much better. I have some choice Jason Witten quotes for you here too. Are you ready for this? These are fucking hilarious. All right. So these first 3 are all going to be from the same game. This was a San Francisco versus Green Bay game. San Francisco can't keep kicking themselves in the foot. This was right, and then right after Aaron Rodgers gets sacked, Richard Sherman has seen that truck a little bit. I don't even know what he was trying to say there. And then my favorite one, this one had my fiance Ara in tears. After Aaron Rodgers throws a touchdown pass to tie the game, Rodgers just pulled another rabbit out of his head.
And then finally, trying to censor himself or something?
I thought he was wanted to say hat.
It's got to be one of those things where he's.
Oh, I thought he was going to say ass.
Maybe.
I feel like he's not nervous, but for some reason he's like a little bit like commentator shy.
I mean, it's got to be awkward with Booger just jumping in there all the time.
You never know when
I have one more great Wittenism here. So in the game, Mark Ingram was suspended for 4 games this year for performance enhancing drugs. The game he comes back, Witten says, "I'm just so impressed with Mark Ingram. He keeps getting better despite getting older somehow." And again, this is the Disney company, the richest media company in the world. This is their one game a week. These are the people they choose to have to run it for them.
Yeah, fuck. It's pretty.
I could do better. I don't even know
pretty
anything about
excruciating. And speaking of Monday Night Football, if you haven't been aware, the Cruz Azul field has completely just destroyed itself in the last, the field was just shitty. But being in Mexico City a few different times, I really wonder why they chose that stadium to be the Monday Night Football game for probably one of the biggest games of the year. Granted, they probably didn't expect it to be, but it's one of the biggest games of the year, and they chose probably one of the worst stadiums in Mexico to have the game. Cruz Azul.
It was Stadium Azteca.
No, it's not. It's at Cruz Azul Stadium.
Are you sure?
In Mexico. Well, there's so many different stadiums in fucking Mexico. But, I mean, they should have had at Stadio Azteca like they did last year.
Yeah.
But I don't know why they didn't do it there. It's much bigger. It's nicer.
Yeah.
It's well kept. This field just, destroyed it. It looked like shit. I'm sure you saw
Yeah, I know. I did, yeah.
So they decided to move the game to L.A., which... L.A. will probably be another home game for the Chiefs. L.A. fans are horrible.
Well, the Rams fans can turn up a little bit. It's not as bad as the Chargers playing in that soccer stadium.
Oh, Lord. I read an interesting article about how the Chargers they practice with crowd noise for their home games because they're used to having it be loud when they're on offense because the crowd is majority not Chargers.
At least the Rams actually have a history in Los Angeles. I don't know why the
Chargers they need to take the Chargers back to San Diego. I think it's so dumb. It is so dumb having 2 LA teams, especially when LA has one of the worst fan bases ever. And, I don't know why they need 2 of everything, Lakers,
because
Clippers.
They're the second biggest city. Population-wise.
That doesn't mean they need to have.
Why does Green Bay need its own Buffalo?
Hey man, take that team away from Buffalo. That place.
Yeah, I know.
It'll burn to the ground.
It was absurd that we had no football teams in Los Angeles for 20 years. That was weird.
Yeah, I agree with you. But then all of a sudden, moving 2 teams there at once.
I know.
God, I don't even want to get into that. College football. Real
quick, did you see that the Rams are giving all the first responder, all the firefighters, a bunch of free tickets to that home game?
I saw that, and that's awesome.
That's pretty cool. Hats off to you, Los Angeles Rams. Anyways, carry on.
College football. All right, we're gonna get into it. Huskies today played the terrible Beavers, Oregon State Beavers. They won that game. I'm happy. They look a little, they look better after that bye week. Trey Adams returned today to the lineup. Speaking of Trey Adams, for Huskies fans, this has got to be something that has been very exciting in the recent weeks. Is Trey Adams has announced that he's coming back to UW to play for another year because he redshirted this year with a back injury. And just having him come back, you'll have a healthy Trey Adams. You'll have a brand new quarterback, Jake Easton from Georgia, who's got the SEC experience. I'm excited for the Huskies next year. I'm excited for them to take on Wazoo on Friday, right after Thanksgiving. I'll be at work, so I won't be able to watch the game, which sucks. But anyway, did anybody catch the Maryland game today? I mean, did you check it out, Joe? Because it was absolutely insane.
I was working all day.
51-52.
Oh, I did see that. And then Maryland missed a 2-point conversion that would have won them the game.
Yes,
yeah.
and it sucked because
against Ohio State.
The ball was thrown a little wonky, but the receiver was like wide open. But anyway, moving on. I just want to let's pause it real quick.
Okie dokie. Let's roll it. Or I'm rolling.
Rolling, yeah.
Yeah, so before we started...
Speaking of rolling.
We were having a discussion about early 2000s new metal powerhouse Limp Bizkit.
Yes. Not only
Christian
Limp
had some
Bizkit.
hot takes on
Not only Limp Bizkit. Now I'm talking... When we're talking new metal, man, that was like my shit. That was all of our shit. One of my best friends, Blake, my cousin Ramon, they, growing up, we all loved metal, but the new metal was like our fucking
How
shit.
old were you two in like 99, 2000 when Limp Bizkit was blowing up?
Well, in 99, I was 5 years old.
Yeah, that's what I thought. See, I was 13, so like I have an excuse for being into Limp Bizkit because it was on MTV when I was watching MTV.
My brother is 7 years older than me, so I just inherited his music taste.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, and you know what?
So then when Vito or Christian specifically, when did you like get into the new metal craze? Because it had to be after it.
When I was 5 years old. I fucking love Limp Bizkit. And the funny thing is I loved it. My brother loved it. My mom loved new metal. I don't know what it is about new metal, but my mom fucking loved it. She, Korn, Limp Bizkit, and Slipknot. She loved it all.
Well, Linkin Park? No, Linkin Park?
Oh, of course, Linkin Park.
Yep.
But I will say,
remember I was in 5th grade singing Linkin Park songs.
Oh my God.
I'll say that my intro, or my intro into new metal was Hybrid Theory from Linkin Park.
Okay.
So I bought that album and then one of Slipknot's first studio albums. Those were the two CDs. Those were the two first CDs I ever bought of my own money.
Yeah. And
I bought them at a used CD store on the Ave, and I'm pretty sure it's still there. It's a shithole. But
is it Big Al's? Big Al's is still there.
Yeah. Yes.
That place is awesome.
It is.
It's awesome. I like their classic video game collection.
But it was a dump back in the day. The whole Ave was a dump.
It still
is. But anyway, those were the two albums. Oh, and then I'm sorry, Disturbed. Disturbed's. I can't remember what the album was called.
Is it not called
Unfortunately, I can't remember what the album was called, but it was great. Those were the three first CDs I ever bought with my own money. And I had a CD player.
I had a CD player, yeah. And I had those headphones that went over your head and then had like a curve that went up over your ear.
Oh yeah.
Fancy.
I remember those.
Yeah.
The first, do you want to talk about really, the first CD I ever bought was Smash Mouth Astro Lounge song. What?
God.
All-Star was a good song when I was 12.
Yep.
It was in Mystery Men. I remember watching Mystery Men and hearing that song thinking it was the shit. Because we had the Mystery Men CD as well. That was something my dad invested in. It was hilarious. But anyway, that's what kind of got me into new metal. And I think the new metal era is, that
was just a weird time.
It was a weird time, and it was a ridiculous thing. New metal is ridiculous, but it's absolutely awesome, and it represents so much of my childhood. We all loved it, and we all grew up around it, and we listened to it all the time, especially Linkin Park, Limp Bizkit, Slipknot. Those were like the biggest ones. And Korn as well. I'm sorry,
It was
I didn't
just
mean to exclude Korn.
It was a
Korn
weird time for pop music because that was also like the heart of the Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, and Britney Spears as well. So, and that was also like, I don't know if either of you were around for the TRL days on MTV, but that was like the hottest shit in that time. So it was like a top 10 countdown where you'd hear like, you know, Britney, Christina, NSYNC, and then you like Papa Roach in there, and then the back to like
Roach, 98
degrees. Like, this is an odd eclectic mix of music.
Forever. I remember
You don't go to Last Resort when the one Papa Roach song I think people can identify.
My life into
yeah, thank you.
Oh, come on. I mean, that song's a staple, but they had some other ones. Fucking Jablomi or Jacob. What was his name? Yeah, I can't remember.
Don't ask me. I thought his name was Papa Roach. I don't
can't remember their lead singer's name, but he was on that MTV show Scarred, and I remember watching that all the time. That was great. People rollerblading and like breaking their fucking femurs and shit.
My mom was so mad when I started blasting that Limp Bizkit on her like 8 CD changer and
I remember that.
Yeah,
I remember those those stereos
so
with like the 8 CDs and like, it would go between them.
Yeah. I just don't know how it was, but my mom she loved the new metal era just as much as we did.
That's so
my mom
random.
did too.
You know, we were constantly listening to Korn, constantly listening to System of a Down, Slipknot, and all that. You know, this was also when System of a Down was more heavier. Than, you know, this was before they let their guitarist like really start singing a lot. That was when the band fell apart because he is fucking horrible. He's a terrible fucking singer.
I remember when Toxicity came out.
Dude, that album is the shit. I remember hearing Prison Song.
Oh yeah, I remember watching the video for the first time too.
My dad was like, "Oh boy,
Prison Song." You guys have already surpassed my knowledge of new metal. It's not.
So I take it you weren't a big new metal guy like.
I mean, like I said, I was big into Limp Bizkit for a while, but that was about as far as Slipknot and was a little too hard. Yeah, I did like the Faith cover.
I love the Faith cover.
This is embarrassing, but I didn't know it was a cover till like 5 years after.
Oh
that.
Man, it's been on like almost every single worst covers. Worst like top 10 worst cover songs that I've seen.
Really?
Oh, it's been on almost every single one of them as either number one or number two. I think that cover is badass. The stupid record scratching.
Yeah.
That whole thing.
Oh, Kid Rock was before he went all country. Was blowing up at that time.
Kid Rock is the shit too.
And I don't know if this is the same time period, maybe a little bit after, or maybe a little bit before. I'm not sure, but Marilyn Manson.
Oh yeah, of course.
That was around then. He was always on the fringes because he,
Yeah, of course.
Was a little weird.
That was back when he was like
as
controversial as he could get.
Yeah, me too.
Like that was back when he was like on talk shows.
Oh yeah,
and everybody hated him because they thought he was like the devil.
I remember watching
he gave himself like fake boobs for a while or something.
Yeah, he had the fake boobs. He was talking about sucking his own dick.
I remember watching one of those like interviews or whatever where they were like trying to get people to explain moshing to normal people.
Oh my god! I went to a Bad Religion show a few years ago, and those guys are like ancient now.
Oh yeah, those guys.
Greg Graffin was talking about his wife wouldn't let him slam dance anymore. I'm like, how old are you?
Speaking of mosh pits, if anybody wants to have a great laugh, you guys got to check out the Yellow Card Wall of Death.
Oh my god,
that is one of the funniest videos I've ever seen. It's so ridiculous.
I love it when those whiny ass pop punk bands try and get mosh pits started at their
or like even screamo bands, like terrible screamo bands that come on tour with like Cannibal Corpse. You'll get like usually like one shitty screamo band.
Oh, I bet.
And they'll be in there and they'll tell the whole crowd to separate from wall to wall. But when you realize it, you're separating in a building that's like, Studio 7, which is the size of my living room.
Yeah.
And it's like everybody go from one side to the other. And we're all going to run into each other, but then everybody's like 2 inches away from one another with the wall of death in the middle. It's like a foot. So when the music starts going, their shitty screamo starts playing. Thankfully, they get off the stage quick. They're like 15 minutes, and then you get the real bands that come on there. And I've seen Cannibal Corpse about 5 or 6 different times, and every time I see them, I have a hoot. They're a lot of fun. I saw them with Nile a few years ago on the Summer Slaughter tour. That was badass. And another really badass band to see live is Goat Whore. They fucking rule. Behemoth as well. But we'll get into that in a different. We'll get into like the best favorite bands. Because I can go on that. I can go on like the best metal concerts to see, because I'm a guy who loves all kinds of music, right?
You really are the most eclectic human.
I love country. I love classic rock. I
New
love
metal,
rap.
apparently.
I love new metal. I love death metal. I love it all. I just love all music. I'll even venture into jazz if I'm feeling squirrely. But there's every single genre of music. I enjoy it, Mm-hmm. And so with that being said, I can get into a big conversation about my favorite metal bands to see live because every single one of them, most of the shows that I've gone to have been just outstanding.
Yeah.
Speaking of live bands, there's some new concerts coming up.
Oh my God! Yes.
What a master transition there.
Yes.
I think both of you have some exciting shows you wanted to talk about.
I'll let you go first with the
Speaking of exciting shows,
K.
Purchased my Kiss tickets, and I am super pumped. I cannot wait. My cousin Ramon hit me up, and he told me that he bought 3 tickets to Kiss, and I mentioned his name before. Blake bought a ticket from him, and I'm buying the other one. Tickets purchased. We're gonna party. It's gonna be a blast. I cannot wait to see Kiss. It's gonna be so much fun, and maybe not in the same genre as Kiss, but I'll also plug this show. I bought my tickets for Coulter Wall, the country singer that I mentioned in episode 1. He'll be coming here in January 20th. It's a Sunday. Be there, be square, be goober. It's going to be a great time. He's coming off of his album. It's going to be a blast. I love the album. I've listened to it maybe 100 times, and I can't wait. And Vito, go ahead and let's chat a little bit more about some upcoming shows because I know you're dying to talk about one of them. Speaking of episode 1 bands that we were talking about, go ahead, Vito.
Yeah, so Iron Maiden's coming back to the Tacoma Dome. I'm terrible with actually remembering crap, and I can't look it up right now. So I don't actually remember when it is exactly. But they're coming to the Tacoma Dome again. I saw them 2 years ago, I think, when they were there again. And amazing show, just the best show I've ever seen. The showmanship of Iron Maiden is just amazing.
Oh yeah, it's fun. It's a party, and they have the big
it's a dinner
stage.
It's a dinner and a show, and the dinner is the music.
Dinner and a show. It's I saw them when I was in 8th grade. My dad surprised me with tickets for my birthday. They came and played at Auburn Amphitheater, or the White River Amphitheater, pardon me, in Auburn / Enumclaw. And I was surprised with the tickets, and we went and saw the show. Outstanding show. They're great to see live, and when you get to see the props and you get to see the fire, it hypes you up. It really hypes you up. And it's all part of their live performances are so badass. That's why I can't wait to see Kiss.
I was gonna say that's got to be fun with Kiss because they got all those pyrotechnics.
They're gonna have
stuff.
the fire, the sparks and all that. It's have any of you guys seen Rob Zombie live?
No,
by any chance? Okay, another guy that I've seen live about 5 times. He is my number one. He's my go-to.
Yeah.
And when every time he's in town, I have to go see him because he is outstanding live. His props are insane. The band kicks ass. The music is loud. They turn their shit up super loud. And the screen in the background, the fire, fireworks, all that shit gets me so high, especially if I'm drinking and I'm with my buddies. Great time.
I love, what is it, Eddie, isn't it? Is
that the Iron Maiden guy? I thought.
The Iron Maiden guy, yeah.
Yeah, the big mummy
Eddie.
or the straight jacket.
Yeah, Eddie's basically the I think the name's Eddie.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Eddie.
Is the character the same character on every single album? Mm-hmm. And funnily enough, they have a video game now on the phone. Yeah, they came out
awesome.
last year. I started playing. It was really fun, actually.
So it's looking like, that Tacoma Dome show is on September 5th, 2019. So
yeah, baby.
You have some time to get those tickets.
It's gonna be a real hoot.
And I pre-ordered them.
Wow. I believe Ozzy Osbourne is coming to the Tacoma Dome as well in July. I'm not sure what day, but he is coming. I think in July.
Does he still put on a good show? He's
got to, man. He's got to be.
He's fading.
But
he is fading. I remember he disappeared for a while too. I remember
rehab.
Remember he was gone.
Before my goldfish memory forgets. Eddie's the caricature that's on every album, and that on that video game you get to be a different Eddie based on like which zone you're in. And they have like different abilities and stuff, and it's really cool actually.
What's cool about Iron Maiden too is Bruce has he's a pilot.
His own plane.
Yeah.
Didn't he paint Eddie on it?
And he flies the band. That's badass.
It's badass.
That's pretty cool.
They're like the most metal band I've ever known metal to be.
And they're great. They're so much fun to see live. If you've never seen them, 110% recommend to go see them. So another concert coming to the Tacoma Dome is this one's for all the ladies out there, or for the the dudes who like them. Michael Bublé is coming, and I believe Justin Timberlake is coming as well. So there's a lot of good concerts coming to Seattle/Tacoma in the upcoming months. It's gonna be a hoot. It's gonna be fun. So Vito, back when I saw Iron Maiden, I was so hyped because I was surprised with the tickets, and not only was I surprised with Iron Maiden tickets, I was surprised with a goat. We just got a goat, and I was surprised with that, and the goat was awesome. We named him Billy the Goat. We're very
like
original.
You had a pet?
I had a pet. Goat? I had a pet goat, like a house goat.
Okay.
A house goat with like ginormous balls. And I just remember that because they were always dragging on the ground. And,
Jesus.
Well, it's fucking hilarious. He's like a tiny little goat, but then he's got these ginormous fucking balls that are just dragging on the tile floor.
Did you keep this thing in like a Seattle apartment? Like
no, we lived in Auburn.
Oh,
yeah.
So. This is just. I want to talk more about this pet goat.
Yeah, we had a lot of pet goats, and.
Wait! You had more than one?
Oh yeah.
What?
Right after that one, unfortunately, he got sick and he passed. And then we got two other ones. We've had a lot of unfortunate goat situations. We had one that came along and he was out back eating grass, and then he was gone. Never saw him again. Sad, very sad. And then we built a big giant perimeter, and we got two more goats. And we named them Mario and Peach or whatever.
Not Luigi? Oh, if it was a lady goat.
Well, it was a lady goat. We had a lady goat and a guy goat. And and this is tragic. Peach got eaten by coyotes and flung across our yard.
Oh, fuck.
And
damn.
Mario was alone for about a month. And then came the winter time, and we built him a nice little house. He was nice and warm. He climbs inside of his trough and he freezes to death. What? He climbed into his water trough and he died. Very, very sad. Anyway, moving on from the ghost.
Trying to be a plumber, like his namesake, climbing the water tank.
But moving on from the goats, yes, I was surprised with Billy the Goat and Iron Maiden tickets on the same day. I was hyped, and I got to miss school the next day, which was badass. I also missed school when my mom surprised me, my cousin Ramon, and my brother Jackie with Korn tickets back when I was in 5th grade.
Man, I feel so lame. I remember back in 5th grade, my dad pulled me out of school to go see Spider-Man.
Like the
Tobey Maguire movie, yeah.
The Tobey Maguire Spider-Man? Oh, dude, I'd be honored to be pulled out of school to see that movie.
Come on, Iron Maiden.
My dad pulled me out of school to go to the NHRA drag racing final or nationals once, so not as cool as Iron Maiden, but probably just as loud.
Yeah. Shit.
Hey, drag races are cool.
Not when you're there all day and you're 12 and bored.
Well, true.
I was gonna say, at that age, you're not really like. You can't enjoy drag racing to the extent as adults. It's kind of like NASCAR. It's like if you take a kid to NASCAR, he's going to be bored out of his mind. But if you take somebody who's our age, we're going to get hammered in the parking lot.
Yeah, that's the appeal.
You're going to go in and you're going to go in. Yeah, you're going to go in. You're going to watch cars driving 100 miles per hour faster or whatever, however fast it goes. I don't really watch NASCAR that much.
My uncle was like a semi-pro dragster. Like, he wouldn't do like the top fuel stuff, but he had like a modified Camaro with a roll cage in it and everything. And he wasn't very good, but he did it for a while. So we have a family legacy of drag racing, you might say. But
you mean that kind of drag race?
Well, we went to nationals, so it was like you get the funny cars, you get like the top fuel, like triangle, you get all of them.
I thought you meant the ones where like people wearing drag.
Oh my God.
I was like, those are fun. What are you talking about?
Yes, that would be my dad is not the kind of person to go to a drag show. Like RuPaul's Drag Race?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Wow.
Oh my god.
All right, this feels like a good point to transition.
Yeah. We'll go into a transition. And, we're in the living room right now. I'm looking over at my Xbox One, and it just reminds me that, just acquired Madden, and Madden 19, just to be, exact. And so before I even had it, I had heard a lot of negative feedback from it. I heard that people weren't enjoying it. People didn't like the way it played. People didn't like the way it looked. They just didn't like the game in general. It has a 2-star rating on Xbox. So I just didn't buy it, right? I didn't buy it, but I got it gifted to me as of recently. So I downloaded it and I started playing it. What I do with Madden is I immediately go right into Madden Ultimate Team. Second I get it, I go right into Ultimate Team.
So before you, Vito, are you familiar with Ultimate Team?
No, I don't know anything about Madden except for that it exists.
Okay.
And it's a sports game.
Are you familiar with loot boxes in video games?
Yeah. From Overwatch.
Yes, exactly. Madden Ultimate Team is you build your team out of blind card packs you draw that cost that you can pay real money for.
Oh, so like a card game.
It's essentially an in-game card game, yes.
Yeah.
Anyways. Okay,
Football the Gathering.
Rolling. Having some technical difficulties today. Sorry about that. Anyways,
I don't know if they heard you over my laugh.
They definitely heard your laugh. You spiked pretty hard there, my friend.
Vito's the master of spiking on his laugh.
I have to look away when I fucking laugh so that it doesn't blow up the microphone.
For real, boy.
Yes, but Vito, to kind of describe it in the nerdiest way possible, it is Football the Gathering, essentially.
That's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
And it's also like fantasy football that you can physically play. Like we all, Joe and I have fantasy football teams, but that just relies on how the players play in real life. This is where you build your own fantasy roster. It's like I have Ben Roethlisberger. Ben Roethlisberger is my quarterback. Walter Payton is my running back, and Brendan Cooks is my wide receiver. And I'm the Seahawks. It's like it's my fantasy. It's my team. But the cool thing about this is, so I have Bobby Wagner. He's my team captain, and they give you an upgrade option in Madden Ultimate Team now. So you can, you get your player, and you can spend training points to upgrade your player. So you'll get him at like a 70, and now, until last night, I got my Bobby Wagner up to an 80.
Nice.
And I haven't spent a dime on Madden points or anything. I just
doing the live events, or
I just do the live events, the solo battles. The solo battles are really cool. You play other people's Madden Ultimate teams, but they're offline. But their teams are featured in the solo.
So it's
battles.
like an asynchronous. So like your team is playing, but you're not controlling them. Okay. That's cool.
No. You're playing against
right, but if someone else was playing your team, you're not playing against them directly.
Yes, exactly. But the computer is playing for them at the difficulty that you choose.
Right.
And what's cool about this Madden is it's not like any of the other Maddens. That's you'll have an opponent it's a close game, and all of a sudden it's like you score a touchdown, so then they'll just run the ball. It's like they'll run the ball until they have to punt it. They actually go deep down the field. They'll definitely expose you if you give them the opportunity to. The computer is a lot more advanced in this game. It makes it more authentic, and it feels real. With 3 seconds left in the game,
is the computer more advanced than the coaches in real life?
Oh boy.
Based off what I heard earlier today.
Yeah, so but the computer makes smarter choices. So if it's like third down and 12 yards, they're not going to run the ball up the middle on your stacked defensive line. They're going to go down the field with like a Hail Mary or 4 verticals or anything like that, or they'll even hit you with they'll hit you with a slant route, which I think is kind of dumb, But there's a lot of ways that they can maneuver through slant routes. But
Not going to throw a 4-yard quick out to the sideline on 3rd and 15.
yes, exactly.
Okay.
They don't. The computer is a lot. The computer in this game is a lot more advanced, and they're more fun to play against. And it's just more of an authentic feel. Plus, you have the real player movement, which makes the game a little bit more difficult. And I think that's why people didn't like it when they first got it, because they're used to getting the ball as a running back and automatically just boosting with speed. You know, like your running back could have like a 99 speed in Madden 18, right? And you get the ball, and he just automatically, just right there, has the 99 speed, just flies through. In Madden 19, your running back will have the speed, but you have to kind of build up to that top speed. But once you reach the top speed, then yeah, he's running as fast as he can. And it's cool. Like I said, it's more authentic. I like it. I love the upgrading system in Madden Ultimate Team. I haven't played franchise mode. I haven't played long shot. So I still have to get into the game. I also have to get into NHL 19. And just kind of, you know, I love sports games. They're a lot of fun. I love shooters as well.
You still got to finish Red Dead, man.
Hey,
I
man.
know. I know I have to, but...
Speaking of advanced computers, though, freaking World of Warcraft just got new advanced AI technology that they're utilizing in the newest expansion, and it's looking pretty promising. Like, they're really not that hard right now, but what they've been able to actually do with it, if they can put it in more places in the world. Right now, it's an isolated thing called Islands Expeditions, where you go to an island and you have to like do an objective, and then the AI acts as players against you.
Okay.
Nice.
Versus the normal like World of Warcraft creature that just like hits you until they die.
Is WoW Classic out, or is it just in beta?
No, it had a demo,
like a test
on BlizzCon, where if you were at BlizzCon, and for the first time if you had virtual tickets, you could do the demo as well.
I see. Were you a participator?
No. Yeah, as much as WoW Classic seems like it could be fun, I feel like it'd be more of a fun thing to do just when it's out.
I mean, I think it's more fun in theory than it's going to be in practice.
Well, it's not the game itself, really, that's that fun. It's more of the communities that the mechanics of the game forced you to like become a part of in order to be successful. That made the community so strong and so then, you know, engaging and fun.
Yeah.
Because the community really is the backbone of an MMO, and if the community is not there, then you know you're not going to play for very long. That's for sure.
Speaking of MMOs, Fallout 76.
It is coming out in summer of 2019, I think.
Okay. Cool.
There was a release date on at BlizzCon.
Yeah, you mentioned. Have you played or? I am totally blind. Fallout 76 is a complete blind spot for me. Either of you?
It's
Nope.
it's an MMO, which is not really my. It's not my go-to kind of style.
Not your bag, baby.
Yes, exactly. It's not my thing. I don't enjoy it. It sucks to say, but this is the first Fallout game that I'm actually not going to purchase. And it's just because I just don't like the always online, you know, you can play it solo, but you're still in an online universe. I just don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy those style of games. So with that being said, it has been out for a few days now. They had a big disconnect, server disconnection error, which is usual.
Shocking.
So I think they're fixing that right now. I think that's what Bethesda is working on. But I mean, as far as that, the game looks like Fallout 4 in my opinion. It's like
so dated.
It looks a little dated. Yeah. You know, they didn't really do anything with the graphics. They just I
feel like usually when an MMO releases of a game that was already an RPG, especially with Bethesda, it does seem like it's, you know, the previous year's sort of tech.
Yeah.
And I think it's because MMOs are such huge, massive projects.
And so much of it has to be rendered server side. You have to deal with latency.
And in order to compete with things like World of Warcraft, who's been around for 15 years, they have to have enough content to satisfy the current demographic.
Yeah.
I just feel like, I was not a big fan of Fallout 4. It just felt like a step backwards. They felt like Bethesda develops games in complete darkness of how the industry is changing around them, and there have been so many quality of life improvements that they just didn't include. And then the whole appeal of Fallout is just like the desolation. You're in this nuclear wasteland by yourself, and you find random, cool things around, or like you piece together these stories of what happened. And if I'm there and like Bong Lord 69 is just teabagging me the whole time, like how is that appealing to anyone? So,
that's just kind of like my feel. It's like each other game has had a story to follow along. I'm sure this one does too. I don't know too much about it, so if you're a listener and you know more about it than we do, let us know. You can contact us, let us know about it. But the one thing is, I'm feeling you on that one. It just doesn't feel like it's authentic. It doesn't feel like a post-apocalyptic fear. Or not fear, sorry, feeling. I like the idea of being alone in Fallout games. I like the idea of having to scope out a companion like in New Vegas or in Fallout 4. I like that. And I loved Fallout 4. I know you weren't a big fan of it, but I love Fallout 4. I beat it in the first 2 days that I owned it, and I've been playing it ever since. I play it all the time.
Wow.
But
dedicated man over here.
Oh, well, Fallout. I mean, Fallout's one of my favorite series, and or video game franchises, as you must. But it's one of my favorite ones. This is a Fallout game I'm going to avoid. I am hoping that they're working on a bigger project, and that bigger project could be another Fallout, maybe Fallout 5 or a Fallout, kind of like a New Vegas feel. Take their time. Take their time with it.
I'm seeing so many connections between this and an even much bigger blunder that Blizzard did at BlizzCon.
Oh,
you want to talk about that?
I'm familiar with Diablo Immortal, yeah.
Diablo Immortal, the Diablo mobile game.
This was like their big keynote announcement at BlizzCon.
Their big announcement at BlizzCon, where people pay big money for with their big
tone deaf
PC Master Race fucking going in there being like, I'm gonna blow all my money on BlizzCon, and they're thinking that that's a good place to announce nothing except for a mobile game, Diablo game.
I know. Do you buy into the theory that like they were going to announce Diablo 4 and they had to scrap it because it's not far enough along yet?
I feel like that's a possibility. I mean, that seems like something like Blizzard's MO is, don't push it till it's done. Kind of
Diablo 3 is pushing 10 years old at this point. I mean,
but how long did we have to wait for Diablo 3 to come out in the first place?
10 years.
Exactly. But Diablo.
I'm still waiting for StarCraft Ghost.
Oh yeah,
you'll keep waiting.
Still waiting on it.
It's going to be the killer app for the game.
So Blizzard's big announcement was Diablo, the mobile game.
Diablo Immortal.
Well, it's Diablo's big announcement.
Okay, Diablo
and only big announcement.
They announced the new Overwatch character.
No, the only announcement in Diablo was.
I see.
See that's where the big controversy is. The 2 points to the big controversy is that Diablo Mobile or Immortal was announced as the only Diablo news that people have been waiting years for. Diablo news, and the other controversy was that they did it at BlizzCon, which is where big fat PC gamers go in there to fucking spend big fat money, and their main audience, especially at BlizzCon, is going to be PC gamers, especially for Diablo.
I know.
I mean, it just goes against...
It just feels like it was a decision from marketing and business people.
It's Activision, and it's got to be Activision. Yeah,
that's true.
I mean... That's
taking it on the
just
chin,
like the biggest
man.
blunder I could ever see.
Phone games are popular. This is our biggest event.
They're trying to capture the Chinese market, but then
it's
don't
not the audience,
show it
though. Yeah, exactly.
You gotta show it somewhere else. Maybe announce it on the side. If you want a big show, just do a big show not at BlizzCon, because BlizzCon is held in the West. It's not like they have a BlizzCon East or anything. So, show it at some kind of big gaming... I mean, I don't know much about the events over in China, but I'm sure they probably have a big gaming event that Blizzard could then go to and then show off this new mobile game.
Or something,
Or something that's more directed to the audience that they're actually selling the game to. Because as fun as the game could be, possibly, nobody who plays Diablo in the West wants to play Diablo on their phone.
No.
They bought a beefy computer. They spent a bunch of money on it. And
It's just not the right audience, yeah.
You know? Yeah. Anyway, on to another topic.
That's pretty strange. It's pretty strange. And
stuff.
Since we're on the video game topic, a video game that I actually played the beta for a few months back was Battlefield 5.
Ooh.
I played the beta for that. I actually really enjoyed the beta for it. I thought it was,
I've always loved Battlefield. I haven't played that much of it since like 2 or 3.
I always loved Battlefield as well. And I think a lot of people were kind of shocked to see Battlefield kind of follow Call of Duty's footsteps and go into a World War II title.
That's World War One, wasn't it?
Well, they went World War I with Battlefield 1.
Yeah.
Which was new. It was new, and but now they're into World War II.
Oh, I feel
like haven't they done World War II before?
Well, they both started as
they
World
both
War
started
II
as World War II.
Exactly. So
on.
what's
But
the news
this big thing with Battlefield 5 is it's like split down the middle with the fan base. People don't want to play it because it's not authentic. It's not like an authentic World War II feel, which, in my opinion, I see where people are coming from. If they want to play a simulation of World War II, yes, then you can get upset.
But it's not a World War II simulator. It's Battlefield.
It's Battlefield.
World
It's
War
a shooter
II,
game. It's a shooter game. They're fun. They're meant to just be outrageous and fly fucking planes and shoot it at the ground and jump out, parachute down, and shoot people.
I could never get into a Battlefield game. I felt the UI was too clunky and the player base was too intense. Or it's just like, all right, I'm instantly dead, and now I have to go through these menus don't make any sense.
Yeah,
to me,
Battlefield 4
I haven't played Battlefield since like 2 or 3,
it was
so
3.
it may have changed.
3 was a lot
over
of
time,
I love Battlefield.
But I've never had that bad of an experience in 2 or 3.
Maybe it's just me. I'm not a shooter guy.
Battlefield 4 for me
I haven't been good at shooters for years.
Was just absolutely one of my favorite shooters online. So much fun. I spent so much time on that game. I played that game for maybe 3 years until I finally gave it up, and I haven't played it since I've decided to move on. But it's one of the best online shooters that I've played. One of my favorites. And I'm excited for Battlefield 5 because of the way that it plays. I think the mechanics in it and the visual. It's beautiful. But yes, I see where players are kind of I see where people are kind of on the fence for it because it looks a little ridiculous. I'm going to say that EA's title drop and their first trailer for this game was an absolute shit show. It looked fucking ridiculous.
Well, we all know EA's been sucking it up for years.
But I mean, it's not that, but it's just the way that they presented this game at first. It just looked like a clunky fucking mess. You got people with face paint and fucking kilts and a robotic woman arm. And
I mean, the way you're explaining it, that sounds like fun.
I don't care. Okay, well, listen, I don't care. I don't care that there's, I don't care that there's women in the game. But if they want to go as far as general infantry feel, they completely throw that out the window. You got guys out there with mohawks and face paint and all that shit. But I don't care. Have female characters all you want. I really don't give a fuck.
It just feels like it's our artistic direction they chose.
It is, but they didn't handle it correctly. Their old director did not handle it well.
That's fair.
The game looked like shit. People didn't want to play it because it looked clunky, it looked messy, it just looked out of control. And
yeah, I guess when you're going all the way back to World War II and stuff, you're kind of going for the uniform.
The more uniform feel, but then again, Joe's got a problem with that. I could see it, but
I just really don't care.
I know that. I know, but people really do.
Me neither.
People do really care about this shit. And so they
there's people who want to fucking load up a gun with gunpowder and take 3 minutes to reload while they shoot the fucking one bullet.
Yeah, but I mean, the Battlefield has been Bad Company was an A-Team knockoff, and then never forget Battlefield Hardline, which is a game where you played as an inner city cop.
But remember
it's
how
always
much hate that game. That game got
I know.
so much fun.
People love Bad Company.
I love Bad Company.
Yeah, so Battlefield has always had this goofiness to it, and if you
they always have. But look at the step in realism that they took for Battlefield 3. They completely. The general infantry was the real deal uniforms, 100% to the spot on uniforms, Like, it's cool looking. It's more uniform. It doesn't look like Call of Duty. That's what made Battlefield stand out more than Call of Duty, is it was more of like a authentic feel. Call of Duty was more of like a quick shooter that had generic uniforms, and you don't really give a shit about it. You're just going out there to kill. Battlefield was more of like a teamwork-based game, and your team kind of looked the same depending on the different soldiers that you had. You have your heavy gunner who's got different packs on him.
Yeah.
Then you have your regular infantry who's got he's got the extra ammo on him. Not the extra ammo, but he would have like the grenade launcher or anything like that. And then you'd have the medic, the sniper. They all looked different, but they all looked uniformed. Like it looked really well. It looked presentable. It looked neat. And now they're just following in like Call of Duty's footsteps as far as like
Borderlands almost.
But yeah, it's like let's get creative and let's make these World War II people look like fucking weirdos.
But I mean, like,
it's creative. It's a video game.
Exactly.
I know people always tell me it's a video game, but that's just what Battlefield
fans
fans
would be cool
say.
if like they end up revealing it's actually steampunk World War II.
That would be
That's
pretty
what
badass.
it looked like. That's what it looked like. But
It's not even that like it's a video game thing to me. It's then this I don't want to get this could be a whole separate topic, but like
Probably
if you don't like let the creator is going to create what the creator wants to create, and you as a fan don't have any input in that. Like if you don't like what they created, their old creation is still there. Like nothing's stopping you from going to play Battlefield 4 if you want that realistic looking experience. Like if this is the direction they want to go, that's their choice.
I just think their marketing for it was all kinds of fucked up, and that's what really hurt the game. That's why they had to postpone its launch because it was supposed to launch a month ago.
Well, and their
Black
Battle Royale
Ops
is not ready.
came out. Black Ops came out, and Black Ops 4 has been. They've been getting nothing but praise for their game. It looks awesome. I haven't gotten it yet. I really can't wait to get it. I want to play Blackout so fucking bad, but I'm excited for Battlefield 5. But I just didn't like the way that they marketed it. They marketed it pretty snobby and shitty, and I think that's. They marketed it like they didn't give a fuck what the fan was trying to say, which as a video game company, your fan is your fuel line. It's your blood. And if you're not willing to listen to them or like hear them a little bit, what their director said on the game was, if you don't like our game, don't buy it. So sure enough, their pre-sales plummeted. And Black Ops skyrocketed.
Yeah.
So they had to postpone their game a month because their director fucked up and said the wrong thing. So he got fired. Then they bring in a new guy who marketed it a whole lot better. They bring out a whole new trailer for it, and it looked awesome. Then they bring out the beta, and the beta looked great. I had no problems with the beta. It was fun. The action was insane. Of course, it's Battlefield, so that it's a big, wide. It's a battlefield, essentially.
It's a field of battle.
It's the field of battle, and it's huge. It's got shit to do all over the place. They got the vehicles. It was a ton of fun. I had a lot of fun with the beta. I cannot wait to get my mittens on the actual game. I know I'm going to enjoy it, but I think EA's got to do a little bit better on their marketing plan as far as that game goes. They kind of fucked it up on that one, but they'll learn.
That could be another whole topic, just how EA and Activision marketing.
Going back to what you were saying, Joe, about the being able to go back and actually play the older games for that kind of thing. I think that's why WoW Classic is so sought after.
Yeah,
because there's no actual way to play older versions of World of Warcraft.
I mean, I think it's cool the idea that like just to go into that world pre-Cataclysm, but like hunters have to deal with ammo again. Like,
and I'm not saying the systems are clunky, but if you liked playing back then, there are. I'm sure it's just like
I just feel like nostalgia.
Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4.
Nostalgia always makes things seem better than you remember them, and when you go back, it's gonna be a hot mess.
But there's also like the main people who are talking about WoW Classic aren't saying that the game was really that good. It's just that the systems in the game and the people who want to play Classic made better communities. Yeah. Right now, it's just a rage fest of random people who want the highest number on their character sheet.
Old loot treadmill.
And so they want to go back to where things were a little bit more meaningful.
Well, that's like the rose-colored, I don't know, man. You can't like...
Well, no, because what I'm saying is...
Yeah, I know. But
they're not saying the game wasn't clunky and that it didn't have its problems at the time. They're saying they prefer the vision of WoW Classic versus the vision of current WoW's method of like rewards.
My point is, I don't think those people. I think they're looking at this through nostalgia. Yeah, there might be a siren on our end. That's on our end. Don't worry, you're not getting pulled over. I feel like those people's vision is clouded by nostalgia, and they're not remembering it the way it was because the internet communities have always been hella toxic. It's not like it was any better 10 years ago.
So, like, the main thing I have to say about that, though, is it's not the toxicity of it. It's well, actually, there's 2 points, actually. The point being about the toxicity, though, it's not that there isn't going to be the toxicity. We're still in the newer age of the internet that we are right now, and not going back to then. But I do have to say the systems within old World of Warcraft lend itself better to people trying to be in the community.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and versus like the solo player who's doing randoms and yelling at everybody. You know,
so you're saying some of that, what I call the clunkiness, forced community building upon you. Okay,
yeah.
Okay. I can definitely see that perspective.
And also the fact that the servers weren't sharded, so there was no like bouncing around on the server. It was everybody who was on the server was on the server.
Yeah.
If everybody moved to one place, you saw everybody and probably crashed the server. But and so there was reputation to be had on a server as well. So if you were a shitty player who was shit-talking all the time and didn't do anything well...
Just get downvoted or whatever.
No, you don't get downvoted. Just all the good guilds know you and don't
like it wasn't like a built-in
guild.
System, you mean? It's just like people knew you.
Yeah, people knew you because
Bong Ripper 69, he sucks. Yeah, that's my go-to, man. That's my go-to for a shitty 12.
Bong Ripper.
Yeah,
Bong Ripper 69.
It's funny because my gamer tag on Xbox is Zob the Bong.
Oh, of course.
And it's funny because that's like a high school... You know, that's like a high school gamer tag. I got that gamer tag in 2012.
Yeah, look him up.
I am too lazy to change
it.
I'm too lazy to change it. I don't want to spend money to change it. I don't give a fuck. It's been a custom. It's been my go-to name. I am known as Zob.
At least on Xbox. I don't want to go on this topic now, but you still can't even change them right on the PlayStation Network. You're stuck with whatever you made the first time.
I know. It's stupid for me because I actually made my name because you can't play on PlayStation without creating an account.
Yes.
So I had to create an account to play on my friend's PlayStation with him on a 2-player game. Mm-hmm. And I used my real name.
So you're
and so my fucking username is my real name, and I can't change it.
So now you hear 2 of our usernames. If you want to look us up on our platforms of choices, Vito is on PlayStation Network, and Christian is on the Xbox. I'm Rufasa85 on the PlayStation Network. Look me up. I'll kick your ass in Rocket League. We're at about an hour 15.
We'll put our gamer tags in our description. So I know we're about an hour 15. I want to get into a topic that we don't really venture into a little bit because a lot of the times we don't have a lot of time for it. But as of recently, I've had some time, and I kind of want to talk about a couple of movies that I've watched as of recent. So
I want to add something to this topic when you're done, though.
Okay, if we're gonna do this, before we switch off of video games, I got a few notes here. I've still been playing Red Dead. I'm told not to talk about it, so I won't spoil anything. Just a quick tip: if you're looking to collect cigarette cards, every time you buy a package of premium cigarettes, you get a cigarette card, so you can very much spend an hour buying premium cigarettes until your inventory is full, dropping them, buying them again until you have all those cigarette cards. So that's what I did. It's also Black Friday deals coming up. There's some totally awesome, I'll run through these real quick, PlayStation Network deals. Madden 19 is on sale 20% off. God of War is $22. That's either my favorite or second favorite game of the year. Tom Clancy's The Division. I know you played that one, or did you only play Wildlands? You play The Division?
No, I didn't play The Divisions, but I played
the demo. It was really fun. It's $10, so why not? Far Cry 5, really? Yeah, on PlayStation Network for Black Friday. Far Cry 5, 27. Monster Hunter World, which is the best Monster Hunter game of all time. We'll have a whole recap of our games of the year in a few weeks.
Far Cry 5 was fucking awesome.
Yes,
great.
Monster Hunter World, $25, and then
it also had a really cool addition to the, I forget, it was like an almost not quite an expansion, a DLC or something.
They had some really good, like, the, are you talking the Vietnam one or the whatever. They had some cool DLCs for that.
Zombie one.
But anyways, Call of Duty Black Ops 4, $48 this week on the PlayStation Network. So you might want to jump on that, buddy. Well, I don't know. I assume
it's on sale for the Xbox too, but it's like I said, I'm probably going to shoot for it around Christmas time, just because I got so much shit I have to continue on as far as, Madden and NHL
RDR2.
and RDR2.
Yeah.
So, you talked about, your Black Friday sales for PS4 and all that. For the Xbox and Microsoft, their their Black Friday sales, you can get an Xbox One S and you can save $100 on it. You get the Minecraft bundle for about $199. For the Xbox One S, it's pretty good. Jesus, Vito.
Fuck.
Have a Ricola while you're there. Ricola. And you'll also be able to save $100 on an Xbox One X. And as an Xbox One X owner, 100% recommend that option if you're going to go for an Xbox. It's a fantastic console. It's beautiful.
PlayStation.
I really just love it.
PlayStation fanboy for life.
And you can also save on regular Xbox One bundles. So, Generation 1 Xbox Ones.
They're still selling those?
Oh, yes. Yeah. You can save $70 on them. And Xbox Game Pass is $1. So,
wow.
We're going to venture off into the video games. I mean, it's like I said, I could talk about video games all fucking day.
All day.
So what I'm going to do is I haven't had a lot of time for it, but as of recently, I've had time to watch some movies. And I love watching movies. I'm a big movie guy. And I just went and saw Bohemian Rhapsody.
Okay.
And as a fan of Queen's music, I was a big fan of the movie. The critics didn't like the movie, but you can check it out on Rotten Tomatoes. The audience score is high up there. But I highly recommend it if you love Queen's music. If you're interested to see a little bit about it. Sure, it's probably not 100% spot on, but just remember that the band, or the surviving members of the band, were part of the movie process. It was a 10-year process for this movie.
Really? I didn't know that.
I believe the main actor's name is Rami Malek.
Rami Malek, yes.
Rami Malek.
Yes,
he was fantastic. He was great. The rest of the band who played, or the rest of the cast and crew, awesome.
Have you seen that side-by-side of Rami Malek doing Live Aid versus Freddie Mercury, and it's exactly the same?
They cut out,
You're right, dude. Yeah, dying over there, Vito.
If you're wondering what Vito is choking on, it's from our great friends at Rolling Rock, and $9.99 for an 18 rack at 7-Eleven. Check it out.
I was half thinking you were gonna say a dick, but guess you weren't that mean.
No, I'm not that rude.
That would be taking advantage of our audio format to lie to our listeners, and we've built a circle of trust here.
Yes.
So
the shot by shot for Live Aid was awesome. They cut out some of it, obviously they're not going to do the whole thing. But what they did do was just spot on. It was awesome. It was a lot of fun. And we also, before that movie, I'm going to give a quick shout out to Wingstop, because they're right out front of Oak Tree. We got our wings there. My boy Jalen works there. He's awesome. Swing by there, get some wings, give him a tip, let him know how much you appreciate him. The guy works hard. The whole Wingstop crew works hard. Anyway, I also saw Venom as well. Another movie that was panned by critics, and another movie that...
the trailers looked awful. Just awful.
It did. It didn't look good in the trailers, but I love Tom Hardy, and I like the story of Venom. And granted, this is not really... This isn't the MCU, so it's not like... This is... I believe it's Sony. Sony owns the rights to Venom.
Yeah.
So it's Venom without Spider-Man, which is a little weird. It's pretty weird. I liked it as far as superhero, anti-hero movie. I believe they should have gone for the rated R. I think superhero movies that
aren't...
the
Deadpool cut?
I think so. I think superhero movies that aren't really in the MCU or part of that whole, that whole shebang should probably go for the rated R. Maybe not the X-Men. They don't really need to go to the rated R, except for Logan. Obviously, they did. But as far as the new age X-Men, the new one that's coming out, that's I can't even remember what it's called.
I still haven't seen Apocalypse. Days of Future Past was so bad.
I liked Apocalypse.
Yeah.
I thought it was fun. I mean,
I'm a big Jennifer Lawrence fan.
Apocalypse. I mean, if you're going for like big story and like, oh, this movie's amazing. No, you're wrong. You're going to go see the X-Men to see some cool battles, and that's what it was. And Apocalypse was dope in my opinion. But with that being said, Venom was enjoyable for me. I liked it. They had plenty of Venom in it. They had plenty of Tom Hardy in it, and he was a cool character in that movie. He was the one that shined. And a lot of Tom Hardy products or productions, he's the one that really stands.
Isn't he like a journalist in that movie or something? It just seemed like a weird choice.
He's a journalist.
Eddie Brock's an astronaut. That's where Venom comes from. You know, like it's come on.
I mean, they explain how Venom comes down. And it's a little different, a little funky, a lot of weird. Doesn't make sense.
So
the first like 30 to 45 minutes of the movie is all over the place. It makes no sense. But once Venom gets attached to Tom Hardy, that's when I really started enjoying it because they had a lot of Venom. They had a lot of cool scenes, and that's what I went to go to the movies for. I don't go to go see Venom for a big story.
Which Venom would you say is better, Tom Hardy's or Topher Grace in Spider-Man 3?
Tom Hardy. 100%.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was there rest in peace, Stan Lee? Was there a Stan Lee cameo in this? I know it's not in the MCU, but it is a Marvel movie.
There is a Stan Lee, but I'm not gonna say when it was.
That's fine. I'm just curious.
And also because I don't remember when it was. Because I saw this movie like 3 weeks ago. Like 4 weeks ago.
Gotcha.
But as far as movies go, I want to get, later on in future episodes, I want to bring in some more movies. I want to talk to the listener about some movies. If you guys have any recommendations, I'm a big movie guy, like I said before. If you have any recommendations for me, please let me know. I would love to check them out if I had the time to. One movie that I recommend that my brother actually told me to watch was a movie called Loved Ones on Amazon Prime. I checked it out. It's a New Zealand kind of horror flick. It's very gruesome, very brutal. It's pretty dark. It's a very dark movie to be honest, but I highly recommend it if you're into that kind of genre. And I think New Zealand is in the right direction as far as horror movies. They came out with Deathgasm, which was that black metal zombie movie they came out with. A lot of fun. Check that one out as well. With that being said, I believe we're going to wrap up today's episode. I just want to give the...
Hey.
Oh,
I got a little something. I was trying to wait for you.
I'm so sorry, Vito. I'm so sorry. Vito was being very polite.
I just got a little quickie over here.
Go ahead. Hit us with your quickie, buddy.
On the side note of media that is not video games, I have actually been...
Or music.
As a nerd, reading recently.
Like a book?
Oh,
like
books.
A real paper book.
Wow.
Like with paper. And
are you actually reading it, not like audio? Or
No. I read an actual book in my hands with the papers and
I remember we were talking about that the other day.
I read fully in like 2 or 3 days. In the Name of the Wind by
Patrick Rothfuss.
Or The Name of the Wind. Is it in? I don't remember, but yeah, Patrick Rothfuss.
I think it's The Name of the Wind. Did you read the other one?
I started it. I'm on like 200 pages in now. I started it yesterday.
Third one? Those are so good.
It's so
good. I love just like. It's been a while, but I like that it's like a recounting, but it's like from the first person. So it's like some of it might be stretched, a little bit of the unreliable narrator.
And it also like kind of, I like how it kind of like comes back and has little bits of scene happen from the storyteller's point of view as well.
Yeah, and I mean the Magical Academy, but it's like it's not like Harry Potter. It's a lot more.
Yeah,
adult.
it's like a science meets magic system. And it's really
it's more of your traditional where magic is just like what scholars do, so it's basically science under a different name, but
but it's still still magic, The best storytelling I've read is hence the Belgariad. So good.
It's good. Yeah,
David Eddings, my favorite author of all time. I've read every single book that he's written, and it's just amazing fantasy literature.
I promised myself I would try not to get too invested in these epic fantasy sagas anymore, just because George R.R. Martin is breaking my heart with his glacial pace. Where's the book, George? I'm waiting.
Well, you don't have to wait for
George, frequent listener,
for the Belgariad. It's finished. And any of David Eddings' other stuff, because I believe he's dead now.
Yeah,
sadly.
Well, that's the other problem, because I got way into the Wheel of Time. You read Robert Jordan, and then he died, and like Brandon Sanderson just isn't Robert Jordan, so it just wasn't the same.
Yeah. Well, nobody's picked up his stuff and I don't think he wants any movies or anything. So his stuff's basically just there for you to just like consume.
I have no time for books. It's too many video games to play.
if you want to read like 20 some odd books and have each one be really good, then
are they on Audible so I can listen to them at double speed?
They actually have really good. I don't know about double speed because I don't like that, but
I do.
I don't know about double speed. But
listeners, let us know about your podcast listening habits. Sorry, real quick. Let us know about your podcast listening habits because I listen to my podcast at double speed, and the Beefy Boys think I'm fucking insane. Anyways, carry on.
But yeah, the audiobooks are very good. Actually, we have a few of them, and we usually listen to them on like 6 days or something. So
nice,
cool.
You guys are nerds with your guys.
Some good ass books.
You guys are nerdy with your little sci-fi books.
I know.
I'm not a big reader. I just finished Holes for the 100.
Sci-fi?
Or sci-fi, fantasy.
I spent like 20 minutes here,
literally talking about Harry Potter and magic and Game of Thrones.
Sci-fi and fantasy to me is almost the same thing because I'm just not.
Well, maybe you should work at a library because they put sci-fi right next to fantasy in the same section. It says sci-fi fantasy, and it's real dumb.
No, the part that gets me
if I were to work in a library, they'd fire me because of my internet search history. Can't do that. Don't put me in a place with free internet.
The thing about that, though, the sci-fi fantasy thing is it's like if it's like a respected sci-fi author, they don't like Kurt Vonnegut does not get put in that section. He's in the like literature or classic section. That always drives me nuts. Anyways,
yeah, I got a friend of mine who's big in the big fantasy or sci-fi novels, and he was actually somebody from the Facebook who commented before. But anyway, yeah, you guys are some beefy dorks. But I love that. Like I said, I just finished Holes for the 172nd time. Big reader. And then the last time I finished Holes was when I was a senior in high school.
How did you feel about the Shia LaBeouf adaptation?
Fuck yeah, dude! I have like three different copies of that shit.
I mean, the movie. The movie?
Yeah,
three different copies of that movie. Just do it. You just gotta just do it.
What a weird man.
Do it. So with that being said, everybody, I would like to thank all of our listeners. I'd like to thank everybody here in the room. Vito and Joe are fucking killing it. We're having fun. I hope you guys are having fun too. You guys, Joe, go ahead and run them through where they can contact us.
All right. Yeah, you can listen to us at beefyboys.com. That's our website. iTunes, we're all up in there. Subscribe so I can get those nice stats going. The easiest way to
subscribe button.
Yeah. Like, share,
smash it.
Like, share, subscribe. Yeah, smash, keep pushing that button. Facebook.com/BeefyBoys. That's our page. That's the easiest way to contact us. Instagram at Beefy Boys Bud Club. We love our post-recording selfies. We're on Twitter at Beefy_Boys. Not really much of tweeters, though. And then, yeah, go ahead, buy some merch. www.cafepress.com/BeefyBoysMerch1. I know it's a really unwieldy thing, but there's links to it on the website and in the store, and I'm working on getting a way better link than that. So that's what we got.
Yeah, sweet. And in exciting news, we got a fourth microphone. So if you ever want to be part of the Beefy Boys for a quick chat, always feel free to contact us. Let's have some fun. Let's get into a conversation with us. And you can also, come in with your own ideas and contest with us.
Let us know what you want to hear us talk about. We're a conversational group of dudes, I mean, our mission statements about music, sports, and video games, but really it's just pop culture in general. Anything. We're open to it. If we know about it, we'll talk about it.
Alrighty. With that being said, I am Christian.
Vito.
And Joe.
And we are signing off.